Hey, all right. I am so excited. There are just all kinds of stuff going on. This is going to be an epic week of uh, exponential proportions. So, anyone who's trying to grow their business, this is the time to just grab a hold of some of this stuff and just, whoa, we're going to let it rip. But we got another minute because I always like to start at 7 o'clock and we'll get everything going. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be great. I hope so. I hope you're going to be able to just grab a hold of these little nuggets that we talk about. You know, little nuggets build into big piles of nuggets, and nuggets of gold. Well, you know what? They don't mean a whole lot. Even little flakes of gold, right? But I'll tell that story in a minute. And we got to finish the story of Chub Bear, don't we? Chub Bear was a bear of amazing softness, plushness, cuddliness, and the greatest adventurer of our time. So we're going to get back to that because yesterday we were talking about our email sequence. So if you missed that, check out yesterday's broadcast. It was, I don't know, I thought it was great because, that's what I think. I think all of my things are great. Some people think I like to talk a lot, and I'm really kind of a shy kind of guy. But hey, officially it's 7 o'clock and it's time to rock. And my name is Matthew Zupa. I'm with Creation Internet Services, creationis.com. And I am bringing to you Area 51 Marketing Conspiracy Exposed. Tips and techniques, building blocks to help you grow your business one step at a time. Okay, these building blocks that you can take today, one building block today, start to implement it, use it to start growing your business. As those blocks build up, that creates an exponential growth. Okay, things slowly rise just like that, boom, and you're ready to roll. So yesterday we were discussing the email sequencing, and I'm excited about that because that's one of the things. Even this morning, early this morning, I was on one of my groups on Facebook. That I'm in several groups as well, and I talk about that, why that's important to be part of other people's groups. Just get involved. I know it seems, a lot of business owners out there, they're going, man, it just takes up so much time. It just takes up all kinds of time. I'm on Facebook and it's just time consuming. Well, 90% of the time, probably more. When people are on Facebook, they're randomly scrolling, they're randomly doing stuff, and they're not doing it with purpose. Okay, you want to have purpose when you're doing that, and it won't seem so bad. Why? Because eventually that purpose will start to show results. However, what I've discovered is that a lot of the businesses, over the last 3 months, the whole river of digital marketing has changed. Okay? The whole river of the way people do business has changed. And I've talked about that in a separate video, the river that people are in right now. A lot of people don't know how to fly fish, right? And that's kind of what it's like. All of a sudden, they're being cast into the river, and they're like, oh, how do I fish? How do I do this? How do I do that? Well, they get stuck, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday and the day before. They get stuck in that traditional mindset of, well, this is the way I do business. This is the way I've always done it. This is the way I'm going to do it. And I'll give you an example. There was a company that I was working for not too long ago. I was working with them, and they had that kind of mindset. And it was, well, they did advertising on television in the late 50s and early 60s, and they pioneered that, and they were on radio and television, and that's how they grew. But then the digital age came along, and they didn't want to really embrace it. Well, let me tell you what's happening to companies that have not embraced the digital age and have not created an alternative to traditional mindset. Okay, traditional mindset right now is killing businesses Coronavirus is not killing businesses. It's your mindset that's killing businesses. All coronavirus did is expose the foundation, the broken foundation that you already have. You see, it's exposing that, and now you're going, oh, I got to fix the whole foundation. Well, yeah, you got to do it. Okay. Otherwise, there's, I can't even tell you what's going to happen. So unless you're grabbing a hold of this whole thing and start to think differently and act differently and get into a different mindset, that this is the digital age is here. Okay. It's not going to go away. And I'm not going to call it the new norm because it's already been there for 20 years. And so if you haven't been involved in it, that's something that you need to deal with. And even if you go back to some of your traditional business, grab a hold of the digital age that you now have a chance to embrace, because now really is a great time to be online. Everybody's online. And that's where people are. I was talking to a friend of mine that I haven't talked to in a couple months, and we reconnected yesterday. And I said, hey, how's it going? And he's a little bit older. And I got to say, he's the greatest copywriter in the world. A lot of people think Jim Edwards is the greatest copywriter in the world. And I'd have to say he's the second greatest copywriter in the world. But my friend is the greatest copywriter in the world. And I said, how's it going with you? And he's telling me, and his wife is doing better. His wife wasn't well, but she's doing really good and all kinds of stuff. But they are, have to be locked in. So what have they done to change? They have to start thinking differently. They can't go out. They don't go out. And even when they shop online. When they shop for their food, they shop for their food online. They get it delivered. It's like watching one of those kind of movies where the guy wants to go up into the cabin in Montana and he doesn't want to deal with anybody, even in the little town that he lives in. So he calls down and he makes arrangements with the local grocery store down there. And so that maybe he's a writer or something, he wants to just stay secluded and away from people. And they always show the guy getting his food delivery once a week. And, they just bring it in a box and that's his food. He never goes into town. He never does anything that he wants. He's got it all set up so that he never has to go down into town. Maybe, I don't know, who knows what else is going on. But it's one of those kind of cool stories. But now we're kind of living that life, and it doesn't seem like it's such a cool story. Well, my friend was telling me that they have to start thinking differently. They had to start saying, okay, we're going to be indoors. We're going to be doing this. If we're really going to be doing this, then we're going to go all out. And they did. So they arranged it so when they shop online. They get everything delivered. They make their meals in-house. They don't go out to other people's places. Whatever it is, they're taking care of it in a new way. Okay, and that's what we're talking about. Businesses that haven't or won't grab a hold of this new way, and it's really not new because, like I said, it's been around for 20 years. You just haven't done it, okay, because you didn't think it was important enough for your business. Well, now, what's happening to those businesses? There's a flood of businesses. There's a flood of them rushing onto social media, trying to figure it out, trying to make money, trying to get new customers into their business, trying to make sales. And there's only one problem with that. They don't know how. They haven't been spending the last 20 years trying to figure out how to use social media. So what do? They fall back. I mean, they're going forward a little bit, but they fall back on the same thinking that they had before, which is, okay, I got to make a sale. I'm doing business. I got to try and figure out how to make this sale. Well, that's the problem, because social media is just that. It's social. It's not about making a sale. It's about making the relationships. And as I was saying this morning, I was on online in one of my groups, and they were kind of talking about that as well. You know, they were like trying to get that one-time sale, trying to get that thing. Oh, you know, I got people coming in. I was able to create an ad. It got people onto my website, and so many people are buying stuff, but not a lot of people. Well, they were actually getting a much higher conversion rate than the average person because they know some tips and techniques. But the thing is, it's not about the sale, it's about the list. Okay. And this is area number two, where traditional businesses, especially brick and mortar businesses, don't understand this important factor about the list. It's if you have a list of 1,000 people and you're nurturing that list and you're growing that list, then even in difficult times, it's about the list, not the one-time pop. And I call that the Kit Kat theory. Okay, anyone can buy a Kit Kat anywhere they go. So you're not going to be able to build brand loyalty for someone to buy a Kit Kat from your store. Who cares? I can go to 7-Eleven and OnQ and Uptown and Dollar Store and every place else, and I can buy a Kit Kat. You're not going to get customer loyalty for me buying Kit Kats, so that's the only place I buy them, right? But that's because I like Kit Kats. I always use that example, just got to say. As one of my weaknesses, you know, if I'm in a store and they have a Kit Kat, I usually grab one. Probably the only sugar that I get, but that's beside the point. That's called the one-time pop. You know, you get that sale, okay, and then is there follow-up? No. There's no way to follow up. Nobody's going to fill out your little form to get on your newsletter so that you can find out when they have a discount on Kit Kats. Who cares? Nobody. Not in your life. But here's the deal. Most businesses have great things. You know, I've got a wonderful coffee shop down the street. They ended up closing their store down the street because they didn't get enough foot traffic that could come in anymore to this particular location because of all this shutdown business. And they were a great store, and I loved it, but they didn't think outside the box. And those who think outside the box, the problem is if you don't get outside the box and act outside the box, it's not going to help you. So what do you want to do in your email list? Now, the last few days, I've been talking about the list, why the list is important. And I just want to say that if you really want to find out more about the list, that's one of the major sections of my book, Area 51, Marketing Conspiracy Exposed. It talks about, I've got a section in here, and we're on section 4. It starts at 138, and it's all about the lifeblood of your digital marketing. This is one of the major sections of my new book, and you can get a copy of that at the website, Area 51, marketingconspiracyexposed.com. So I talk about all of those things, and we were going into a little bit of the detail, why it's so important. Where is the money? Well, the money's in the list. Now I get them in the list, and then what do I do with them? Okay, this is the place where you nurture them. Okay, when I was a young boy, I was living with my grandparents. My parents were divorced, and so I ended up living with my grandparents for a while. And I learned a lot about farming because they had a farm up in northern Wisconsin. And you know, it's like building an email list is like going out and buying the seed to plant in the spring. That's all that is. Every spring we'd have to get seed to go plant. You know, we had wheat and corn, and then some years we would have barley, things like that. And we would have to go out and get that, or alfalfa, whatever it is, we would get the seed. That's what the list is like. And then what did we do throughout the whole summer? We nurtured the list. We had to nurture the seeds so that they would grow. And then at the end, what happens? Well, then you harvest. Okay, so you got to harvest the list. Well, in farming, you know, that season is over. But when you're building a list, it's really just beginning. You can harvest over and over and over. And here's the cool part. back in the day, before all of this genetic seed and stuff like that for farmers that they have to use now, you took a lot of that seed and you kept some of it aside. That seed was put aside so that it was replanted and you could regrow. And that's kind of what building your list is like. You've got your seed, you want to nurture it. And here's the key. So yesterday, we spent a lot of time on what I call the know, like, and trust sequence. And I talk about that, like I said in my book, Know, Like, and Trust. And the know, like, and trust sequence is, once you get them in the list, that doesn't mean they're your customer. They're not your customer. Just because I have seed that I'm buying in the spring to plant doesn't mean I have a harvest that I can sell. So what I want to do is I got to nurture that list. Some people are just kind of curious. And so you offer them of something of great value to get something of great value from them. Like a farmer who goes out and he spends his money to get the seed. So that's what we're doing. The seed are the email lists, right? And the stuff that's going on before that, well, there's a lot of marketing going on over here. People spend lots of money to get people to come and buy from their store, but they don't spend any money or any time building the relationship afterwards. So it's like trying to spend all this money trying to get people to buy Kit Kats. And then they come in and buy a Kit Kat, and then they spend more money trying to get people to buy more Kit Kats. So I'm constantly trying to get people to buy Kit Kats, but what am I doing after that? Nothing. So if you're spending money in marketing and want to save money, and yeah, money has to be spent sometimes. You got to spend it. You want to get it over here. I want to give something of great value to get something back, and that thing of great value is someone's email address. Because in today's age, they don't want to give it out. It's important. It's valuable to them. Okay, it really is. It's like gold. So it has to be important enough for them to want to give that. And that's a great thing because they give that first micro little commitment to you. And what do? You give them what you promised them. You give them something of great value and benefit that's going to help them with that one certain thing. Okay, you have one objective, one target, and you want one result. Okay, one objective is to get people in here. The target is a new customer, so a new potential customer, because they're not customers, a new potential customer that might be interested in certain things. And then I want one result. I want their email address, and they want one result from me. They want to get whatever I promised them. Right? Okay, so that's the first micro commitment, back and forth. We both made a commitment there. And then we get them in the list. Now here is the important part. There's 5 sequences that I have in my list. Okay, and this is how it goes. Know, like, trust, wind up, and pitch. And we talked about that yesterday, so if you want to hear more about it, go back and watch yesterday's video. I'm not going to go into that today. So once you get them in the list, this is where you're nurturing them. This is where you're building a relationship with them. Just like social media. You can't jump on social media and expect to use traditional marketing mindset and be successful. It's all about being social. So what are you doing? You got to get to know, like, and trust people. And they got to get to know, like, and trust you. And then you're looking for what is it that you need. And then you find out that somebody needs something that you have, and then you offer it to that person. It's not about offering it to everybody. Not everybody is going to be your customer. Not everyone is your customer. But you find the ones who are already wanting what you have. And then you make the offer to them to answer or solve their problem. So now we're getting to know, like, and trust, and then we wind up, and then we have a pitch, like in baseball. That's when you commit to it. You make the offer to the person and say, here it is. What have I done? Have I sold them anything? No, I haven't actually sold them anything. What I've done is create what I call a buying atmosphere. People buy from me. I don't sell them anything. Okay? I won't try and sell you. You know, if you're an apple lover and I'm an orange grower and I'm spending millions of dollars and I think everybody should have oranges, and all I'm doing is spending my marketing dollars or whatever it is trying to convince you that you should eat oranges and drink orange juice, I'm wasting my time. You see, and you're wasting my time. If you are an orange grower, then you find people who love oranges and say, okay, here's my oranges. And they go, okay, I want to buy from you. So you create a buying atmosphere to those who are interested and forget the rest. Stop trying to sell. Sell is pushy, okay? A buying atmosphere is, oh, you have a need? Well, here, I've got this for you. Oh, and they go, oh, that's great. Can I buy some of that from you? Yeah. Okay, sure, no problem. And there you've got a great exchange, and then you can start building that relationship even more. So the initial 5 emails, and we're going to take this off of here. The initial 5 emails today, that was the sequence. And again, if you want to find out more about the sequence, I go into great detail about the sequence, what it is and how it works in my book, Area 51, Marketing Conspiracy Exposed. And you can get that at the same.com level. But let's just look at the email for just a second itself. And a lot of businesses today, especially traditional marketing businesses, they don't really, oh, I don't want to do email. I don't want to get anyone upset. Well, you know what? If they sign up and they say, I want information from you, what are you doing? You're doing a disservice to that person if you don't give them an email. You see, that's the thing. If you create something that says, oh, yeah, we're going to do this and this for your email, and, we're going to be sharing, let's get to know each other. Don't just send out an email. Excuse me. I get a little parched when I start talking a lot. Okay? And here's one business that I was working with. This is what they did. They did try and get everyone to sign up for the email. And then 3 times a week, they actually did more. They did quite a few emails, more than most people. But they were doing 3 times a week, and they didn't even want to do that. They wanted to do 1 email a week. And so as I was working with them, I said, you know what, if you want to stay in touch with them, you got to be doing more, and we want to be doing this, and we want to be doing that. Well, they took some of what I said, and they implemented it. 1, they created an email. And even though they didn't use this technique because they didn't think it was working for their business, all right, they did increase their sales by 17% by continually staying in front of their customers, but they weren't really good at getting new customers. And then the new ones that signed up on the email, guess what they got? 3 times a week, they got bombarded with the exact same type of email, right? And that means is I create an email, and this is what most businesses do, and this is where most that I've discovered in 25 years, most businesses fail, is they create an email and they wonder why people get upset because they create a selling email. I'm going to sell you something. That's it. I'm not building a relationship. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm not trying to get to know you in any way. I'm just going to say, here's my special. Get 10% off on this. Next email. Hey, here's today's special. Get 10% off on this. Next email. Hey, here's my special. Get 10% off on this. No wonder people just are so fed up with emails because that's all they get. Sell, sell, sell. It's the company is thinking, hey, this is what I want. I want sales, and I'm going to do all of that I can do to get sales. Well, you know what? The problem is, what is the consumer thinking? What is your customer thinking? What is your potential customer thinking? They're thinking, what's in it for me? 10%? Who cares? Right? 10% on Taco Tuesday? Who cares? 10% is nothing. Right? It's not a big deal. But if I'm building a relationship and we're using that, send out an email that doesn't sell anything, trying to get create some response, get some feedback, just kind of share something. Share something more of value and benefit on multiple emails. And then when you do send out that one that I call the pitch, when you send out the pitch, people are going to be more responsive. Why? Because you've actually spent time being concerned, offering value, and giving benefit. So how do we do that with the very first email? Well, I mentioned yesterday that the first email is your thank you email. So they do the exchange, we do the exchange. I call it an ethical exchange. I give you something that I feel is valuable, very valuable, and that could benefit you. And in exchange, I get your email. I know it's valuable to you, so I want to treat it like gold. It's a precious seed, just like to a farmer. Every seed can yield 100-fold. Wow, think about that. Every seed can yield 100-fold. So that's why it's so important. Okay, so you get your first email, and I call it the know email. You get to know email. And the thing that you offered, you never want to give on the thank you page after they fill it out. And again, I talked about it yesterday. Why not? Because I want to make sure that the email that they gave me was a good one. If it wasn't a good, because sometimes people will put in fake emails. And then what happens is you as a business owner, you don't know, you want to give them that thing because you thought, oh, wow, this thing happened. Well, you haven't even tested it yet. You haven't even tested the email to make sure it's good. I want to make sure it's good. I'm going to qualify the person who's filling out the information. It's like running a credit check on somebody before you let them buy a house. You got to qualify them first, right? The same thing, even if it's micro, you want to do. And the reason is business owners, the new ones today that are trying to figure out this whole digital thing, don't understand that if you send out a bunch of emails to people who respond to stuff and that emails keep bouncing back, well, then your email service provider will shut you down. Okay? It'll kill your ability to connect with your potential customers. Kills it dead. And they will shut you down. Your internet service provider could shut you down. The email provider could shut you down. All of these things. And then your business could actually be labeled as a spam bot, spamming business. And boom, oh man, I can't even go into that. That would take days to explain. So we want to build trust. We want to build someone to like us. We want them to get to know us. So in the first email, this is the expectation email. Okay, and if you're taking notes, and I talk about that, and I think it's like page 167 of my book, something like that. And if you have a question, anyone that's live right now, if you have questions, drop them in the comments, and I'll try and answer those as we go along. But the first one is the expectation email. And this is extremely important. I think it's almost the most important because this is the one that sets the stage. It sets the mood. It's like watching a movie, even at the very beginning. That very opening scene in a movie sets the stage for the movie. It sets the mood. It kind of sets the expectation of everything else that's going to come and follow afterwards. That's what this one does. Okay, it's like the pre-trailer to the Avengers movie. Woo, that was pretty good too. I don't know about you, but I like the Avengers. That's okay. So I want to get to know them. So in the email at the very beginning, what do I want to do? I want to put in thank you. First thing you want to do, thank you. Okay, but what happens before the email? An email has 3 parts. It has a subject. Okay, part 1, subject line. Okay, part 2 has a pre-header. A lot of people forget about the pre-header, and I'll explain that in a second. Okay. Part 3. It's got, the body, the email. And the body, spell that correctly. Okay, the body is actually broken down into several parts as well. But we're not going to worry about that too much today. So the first thing, before they even when they get the email, it goes into your email box and you're looking at it. And so what do you see? You see subject. And it says, hey, thank you, you've just been confirmed, right? Or welcome to the family, or whatever you want to put in there. You want to have something exciting, captivating, but also letting them know at the same time in the first email that they got it from you. So there's the subject, and then there's always the from. From, always be straightforward with people. You always want it, if it's from, let's say, if it's from creationis.com, that's my company, creationis.com, or if it's from someone signing up for my Area 51 marketing newsletter, or my information or something like that, then it's going to be from Area 51 marketing. Always be straightforward with people. If you can, be personal with people. Okay, so if you started off talking to them in a little bit more personal tone, and if you can, I advise it. Okay, hey, this is Matthew from Area 51 Marketing. So what am I going to do in my from? Hey, Matthew Zupon. That's it. Okay, somewhere in the email, it's going to say, at the bottom, usually, you signed up for this because you signed up for Area 51 marketing information. That's it. Okay, that keeps it compliant. You got to stay compliant, otherwise you get labeled as spam. But I want to make sure that, hey, you're getting this from me. And every time, as they hopefully building that relationship, they're going to start to look at that and go, oh, hey, Matthew sent another email. I want to check that out. He's always got some kind of weird story, something funny, something going on, but he always gives me something really good and valuable. Okay, I like to, in my emails, if you're in my thing, when I do send out emails, I like to send out emails that have the latest book I'm reading. And it's not always mine. I know. I like to tell you mine is the greatest book I'm reading, but that's not the case. I just finished a really cool book that I was working on. So, I like to mention at the bottom, I'm reading the latest book. This one is called the 80-20 Principle. Wow. Okay. Want to figure out how to do more in less time? That's a great book. Okay, so every time I try and add something like that, a little something extra of value that can benefit people. Maybe it's just a thriller, because I just got done reading the Clive Cussler book as well. Hey, the latest book I'm reading is just a Clive Cussler adventure. It was great fun. Add stuff like that to your email. Little things of benefit and value. You see people doing that all the time on Facebook, right? Start to think like that. Instead of thinking with that traditional business mindset, I have to be very corporate. This is such and such corporation, and we're giving you this 10% discount, and this is it. And if you click here to buy, how boring is that, right? Okay. So what if I was, what if you got an email from somebody really kind of personal, and they're building that relationship? You can't build a relationship with a corporation. I'm sorry, I can't build a relationship with Nike. But I could build a relationship with a person behind Nike, someone in Nike, one of the people that are doing stuff like that. You can build a little bit more of a dialogue. You can build so that when I have a question, I can say, hey, Matthew, I'm having trouble with this. Could you answer this question for me? And I'll reply back, and I'll go, yeah, here, this is the information. See, when you get emails from me, you can reply back to me. You can ask a question. I'm going to answer it. Okay, it's not just about a sale, like I said. Treat your emails like social media. Treat your social media like you're meeting someone new at a network organization or a function, or you're just out and you're meeting someone. It's all about getting social. It's about building relationships. And I have another chapter on that I talk about. The know, like, and trust. So I want to make sure I've got a good subject line, an introduction, a little bit of captivating. Got to keep it short for your subject line. But here's the section that a lot of businesses forget. They don't understand it, so they don't fill it out. And I try to use it all the time. It's called a pre-header. And what does the pre-header do? Well, the pre-header is kind of like the subtitle. You know, I have my book. I'm just going to use this. I know I'm promoting my book today. I'm excited about it. It's all right. But I have my book. It's called Area 51, Marketing Conspiracy Exposed. So that's my subject. My subject is Area 51, Marketing Conspiracy Exposed. So what would the pre-header be? Well, my pre-header, it says, find out what big digital marketing companies don't want you to know. And the reason that's important is because like Google Mail, Gmail, Yahoo, and stuff like that, when they send out an email, a lot of them send out a little preview. So when you open up your email program, you get like a little preview of what the email is about. And if you don't have a pre-header, they will make one up for you. And it's, you know, sometimes they'll usually take the first couple sentences of your email, and that will become the pre-header. But you want to be the one directing exactly what that pre-header is instead. So as long as you fill that out, that's the thing that's going to pop up. And that's really what catches people's attention. When I open up an email in Gmail, that's my personal email, and someone writes me, I know what they're talking about. They go, hey, Matthew, this, because they never use pre-headers. But if you do, they are extremely powerful because they can be like, again, the thing that's going to just grab their attention a little bit more. And I will probably read a pre-header before I read the actual subject line. If it's, wow, if I know what big digital marketing companies don't want you to know. Well, that's kind of interesting. Who's the subject from? Oh, that's from Matthew. Okay, you can see I kind of go backwards. I do one of those little things, rolling backwards. That's just the way I am. I don't know. Maybe everyone's a little bit different. But that's why you want to do a pre-header. And so don't forget that in your email sequence. Every sequence should have a pre-header. Then you jump into the body. Okay, and the first thing that's going on in the body, in this particular one, the first email of your sequence, and this is email number 1, is to set the expectation. And so as we set the expectation, hey, thank you for getting the thing that I offered you. And you know, I'm not going to say, and you gave me your email so that I can send you tons of emails. No. And it says, thank you for getting the thing. And I know, listen to what I'm saying. I know you're going to enjoy this such and such. And let me share a little something extra with you. Okay? That's not in the download, or it's not in the thing, or it's not in the what. It's something that I found out. And I just wanted to share a little something more. And then you go and you share something new, a little extra added benefit and value in that email. So 1, I set the tone. Thank you. I know you're going to like it. I know you're going to like it. Okay? And you made a good decision. So you want to reaffirm that they made a good decision. You want them to feel good about what they've done. And that people love that. They like to feel, you know, oh, I made a good decision. They want someone to pat them on the back. You know, you buy something, hey, that was a great decision buying that new thing over there. That was really cool. You know, everyone loves to get reaffirmed. Just look at Facebook. Everyone on Facebook wants to be reaffirmed about a decision they're trying to make. You know, should I have, I don't know how many people, should I have spaghetti tonight or this? Oh, I think I'll have the spaghetti. And then people want to be reaffirmed, hey, yeah, that's a good decision. You know, it's this and this and this. So it really does. People love to be reaffirmed about the decisions that they're making, especially in bigger decisions. Okay, so now I've done that. That's the first section. That's the first paragraph. Okay, and the old phrase that I grew up in marketing with was, first you want to tell them what you're going to tell them, then you're going to tell them, And then you're going to tell them what you told them. So in a sentence or two, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you about. And then I might take a paragraph or two and tell you about something new. So remember how I said, oh, and I wanted to share this one extra thing with you. I'm going to share something with you. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you about. And then I go ahead and I share that new thing, that thing that I hope will give them added benefit and value. Okay? And then I go, well, I shared that with you, and tomorrow I'm going to share something new with you. I'm going to, share some new story. I'm going to share some new added benefit or value. I'm going to share a story about. I'm going to do this, and we call that the cliffhanger. So every email should have a cliffhanger. Okay? So that's the open door at the end of every email. Let's just make it look like an open door. All right? There's my open door. So now people can go out that door and they go, oh, you left them hanging. You want to leave them something good. You want to make sure it's going to add value and benefit. Those are the two things always, always, always in every email when you're building relationships. And it doesn't matter if you're doing social media, if you're on social media and you're in somebody's group and you're commenting on other people's stuff, that's what you're doing. You want to be adding value and benefit, value and benefit, value and benefit. How can I add value to what you're saying? How can I share a benefit that might help you solve a problem? It's not about you. It's about them. How can you serve them? And if you keep your focus on them, then they're going to be more likely. Eventually, they're going to come over to your page. And they're going to go, oh, wow, this is really kind of cool. And they're going to click the like, and you're going to start getting more followers, and you're going to start being able to build your own following and your own tribe. And then you can offer the pitch that we talk about later. And we're going to talk about that as we go along, but not today. Today, we're just talking about, yesterday was the sequence, today is the structure. Okay, so in the structure, we want to make sure that we get down here and we close up all of this stuff that we opened before. We opened up setting the expectations. And part of the expectation is going to be, hey, we're going to be sending out some emails. I don't have to say how many. Okay. Once a week, once a month. Well, if you're sending out once a month an email, it's really boring. And by the time they get the next email, they're going to forget who you are. That's it. Okay. And then email service providers. This is one of those technical things that a lot of people don't really quite understand. Email service providers, if there has not been interaction between an email and the respondent or the target for more than 30 days between emails, then they start to think, and then when you do finally interact, and then you're going to get more bounces because they're going to forget who you are, or they're going to say, take me off your list. I don't remember why I even signed up. Whatever. Oh, it's just another sales letter. They're just bored already. There's been no relationship building. That is key. So you get that. You set the expectations. You're going to be sending out another. Check tomorrow's email. I'm gonna share something I think you're really gonna like. Okay. Did you hear what I said? I think you're good. Remember my sequence: know, like, trust. The first three emails are the most important to set the tone, to set the stage. So I know you like this one. Hey, and check out my next email. Make sure you're checking your inbox. Do a couple things. Set the goals. Here's the first thing you want to do is make sure you whitelist my email so you don't miss anything special. My next email, I know you're gonna like my next email. I'm gonna do this. I want to share something with you tomorrow, or I'm gonna share something with you that I know you're gonna like. I set that word in their mind already. I know you're gonna like it. I know you're going to like tomorrow's email. So it sets a little bit of expectation also in the tone of your email. And when you're setting that, they're going to go, really? Huh, well, I don't know, let's see. So you send out the next one. Hey, and then you set the tone. We'll talk about like tomorrow, how to use those phrases, not just create the atmosphere on each one, but to actually use those phrases in each email as you deliver your emails and transition to the next. It's vitally important because you're setting those things. They're subconscious things. People, they don't always see that. So I know you're going to like this. I know you're going to like this. And then, by the end, I don't have to say it all throughout the whole email. That just sounds redundant and stupid. But at the end, hey, check out my next email. Be watching for my next email. As a matter of fact, if you have it already kind of planned what you're going to send for your next email, tell them what the subject line is so they can be looking forward to it. Again, set the expectation. Hey, you know what? Be watching for my next email. It's going to be looking in the subject line for this email so you don't miss it, and tell them what the subject line is. Set the tone. Set the expectation. Oh, okay, I'm going to be expecting an email that says this. This is what it's going to say. What? That's kind of interesting. And make sure it's kind of catchy. Okay? Hook, story, offer. Hook, story, offer. That's what we've been talking about. Set the hook, tell a story, make an offer. The offer in this one is, the information that we're going to be sending out that we know they're going to like tomorrow or, in the next email. If you don't want to feel like you're committing to every single day, which would be great if you did, but then you can do that. But you know what? I don't talk to my friends every single day. But what do you do when you first meet someone and you're just getting to know them? You like talking to them. So in the early stages of a relationship, what are you doing? You're talking to them a lot, right? And then, you get to know each other. You might be able to spread that out a little bit. You don't have to talk every day, So that's kind of what we're doing here. We're in the early stages. We're building this relationship. We're talking to them a lot. We want to get to know them. We want to try and get them to actually respond to things that we put in the email. Hey, what do you think of this? I was doing this the other day, and what do you think of this? Ask questions in your email. Different ways to get them to actually be responding, to not just have it show up in their email program, Outlook or whatever. But you get points when they click on it and actually open it. Okay? You can tell how many people open it. And then if they click something in it, you have a link of any kind inside, if they're responding in any way. So the more they do things like that, it's kind of like a point system with your mail providers. The more they see that people are interacting with your emails, the more valid your company becomes. Okay, so that when you do start sending out more and more and more, they're going, well, this is legitimate. They're valuable. They offer value and a benefit to their people. And so what if they have 10,000 people on their list? They get a lot of people responding and interacting. So they're doing something well, and they're not just trying to sell, or be a spammer, shoot out one email and then you never hear from them again. And that's what you want to do. So, and the same thing on social media. I always talk about the same thing. When you're building the relationships there, you're offering the value and benefit. Don't worry about the sale. Don't worry about it at all. Okay? Give that. So now I set the tone, and then I'm going to say, okay, check out my next email. It's going to have a subject line. You use that. I like to use that once in a while. I don't use it every single time, but especially in the beginning, hey, if I'm telling someone I'm going to call them, I'm saying, hey, that was really great. We had a nice cup of coffee. I'm going to call you tomorrow at 1. Set the expectation. Okay, so then what do? The next day I call them at 1. We get to talk, get together, maybe have another cup of coffee, get to know somebody. If it's a business relationship, we're, getting to know each other's businesses, that kind of thing. Just kind of saying, hey, what can I do for you? Tell me what I can do for you. You offer that. And in the next email, you start working on the like factor. So we've got know, like, trust, wind up, pitch, right? The 5 emails and the structure of your emails. Now, every email needs to close with a footer. Okay, so these are the main 3 sections of your email. You got to have those. But every email needs to have a footer. Okay. New businesses that don't understand this and they're trying to get into it and they're just starting, they tend to leave out the footer. Bam, their emails are going to get shut down and they can't figure out why their emails either aren't being delivered, they keep bouncing back, or eventually their email service provider says, hey, you know what, you need to take care of this because it's broken. Okay, and this is what happens. If you don't have a footer, your email is broken. A lot of companies will not even accept an email that doesn't have a certain structure at the bottom. 1, needs to have your business name. If it's a personal email and you're doing business as your person and you're building up a personal brand, it needs to have your name. 2, right underneath that, it needs to have a physical address. A physical address, not a post office box. Okay. A lot of email service providers will not allow email to come in to, let's say that customer or client that you're trying to send something to. If you have a post office box, they have things to filter through and check these things. Okay, this is part of the anti-spam laws. So these are really important for businesses, and especially if you're trying to build a list and you want to be sending out a lot more emails, you have to have these things. Okay. 3, it has to have an unsubscribe button. Those 3 things it has to have. It has to have a way for someone, if they do not want your email anymore, they can be taken off your list. And you're like, oh, I don't want them to be taken off my list. I want to keep them on. You know what? If someone wants to go off my list, that's fine. I've got more people coming in. Some people are going to go out. Why? Well, maybe it's like this local coffee shop over here. Let's say the local coffee shop had a special and they had a thing and they said, okay, well, you know what? If you sign up for our email list, then you get to be part of our Gold Club. And if you're part of our Gold Club, you get a little card that for every 10 coffees you buy, you get 1 free. Okay, so I exchange the email and I get the emails and stuff like that. Why would I want to be taken off their list? Well, maybe I get a new job and I move out of the area. Okay, here even in Oklahoma, if I was working for or moved down to Norman, I'm not going to come all the way up to the northern side of Oklahoma to get a cup of coffee. So I don't need to hear or see their emails anymore. Maybe I move out of state. Maybe I died and someone else is like, okay, we need to just be taken off this list. Okay, there's a lot of reasons. Maybe I had some economic hardship, all kinds of stuff. Maybe it's a high-end place or high-end restaurant or something. You're getting all kinds of stuff, and maybe I lose my job and I don't go to that place anymore. Now I have to shop at some other place, and I can't afford it. So I don't want to be getting those emails at that time. When I'm ready, if things change again, I can always re-sign up. So don't be scared to let people off the list. That's okay. You don't want people who don't want to buy. You want to be offering value and benefit for those who have the ability to buy and the willingness. Okay? Ability and willingness. If they don't want to anymore, okay, that's great. See, that's part of the thing. That's, it's like if I have a good friend and we get talking, we talk every day for a long time and things change, economic conditions change, maybe they move, well, we don't talk every day anymore. You know, I got one friend of mine, a good friend of mine, and we talk about every couple months because they live far away. They don't live in the area anymore. So we don't talk as much or, stuff like that. That's why let them go. But it has to have those three things. It has to have either your company name or your name, a physical mailing address in order to be considered legitimate email, and it has to have an ability to unsubscribe. So that's part of the structure. There's one thing else that I haven't talked about yet, and that is your email address. I'm just going to put this up here. Okay, now this is extremely, if I can spell, whenever I'm writing, this is extremely important. I know in public speaking you're never supposed to do this, but it's really difficult when you're doing a video or whatever it is. This is not your customers, potential customers, most loyal customer, best customer. This is not the person who's signing up. This is your email address. As a business owner, if you want to be considered a legitimate business and send out more than just one or two emails a day, you cannot, absolutely cannot use Gmail. Okay? Put that in there. Cannot use Yahoo. Cannot use those as your email address. Okay, you must have a legitimate domain name email address. And that has to also be in the footer. So it will be in the delivery, but it also has to be in the footer. That was one of those things with the full address, the phone number, your email address, and your unsubscribe. All of that contact information needs to be in the footer as well. But it cannot be Gmail because most email service providers will consider that as spam. And they will kick out your email before it even gets to its recipient. And there are many people set up their stuff. So if you have a business, and let's say your business is creationis.com, then you need to be using an email that's like contact@creationis.com when you send and to receive and in the footer. So people, consistency. It has to look like a legitimate business. It has to act like a legitimate business. Just like a duck. If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So if you look like a business, act like a business, and give the information like a business, then you're considered a legitimate business. But if you do all of these things and then you give me some personal email address, it looks like I'm sending out a bunch of spam. Okay? And most email service providers will kick out your emails. And you're going to be wondering, why are my emails getting kicked back all the time? Because you're using Gmail or whatever it is. You don't want to do it. Now, there are ways, if you don't have a legitimate business email address, there are ways you can get one for just a couple dollars. It doesn't cost a lot of money to get that and use that. Oh, well, I don't want to have another email I got to check. Yeah, you do. You do. Just like a business, if you want to be a business, you usually have a personal home address and you have a business address. You want to have the two separated. Same thing on Facebook. If you're doing Facebook, I just want to do my business and tell people about my business promotions on my personal Facebook page. No, you want to separate the two. You want to look like you're a business, act like you're a business, talk like you're a business to be a business. Okay, so you got to separate the two. Keep your personal over here, keep your business over here. Gmail is every personal email address ending msn.com, whatever it is you're using, Earthlink, AOL, Does Earthlink even exist anymore? I wonder. Personal people PC or whatever it is. There's a bunch of them out there, and people want to use that. But then all of a sudden, you start sending out more than 10 emails or something like that a day, and you're going to get shut down. You're going to get labeled as a spammer. Your IP address, which is, how do I explain that? It's kind of like your physical address. Wherever your computer is and you're connected, this is how they do geographical location, is where your IP address is. Okay, and that IP address can be cut off, and it can be identified, black labeled, and set up as a spammer, and then it ruins your business. So these are structural things that, even though you're doing know, like, and trust with your potential customers and stuff like that, you have to still act like a business on the other side and understand some of these little bitty technical things. And I don't like to get too technical, but you got to make sure they're happening. Otherwise, you're just going to get shut down. Okay? And we don't want to get shut down. What do we want to do? We want to grow our business. We want to do it exponentially. So this one email, set up this one email. If you don't have an email, if you have, maybe you're sending out emails, boom, set up a new email. Set up the one so that from now on, when someone signs up, you go through the checklist. Make sure that all those elements are involved. And if they're not, change your email. Change it up a little bit. Mix it up. Try and add a little bit of more personality. People want to connect with people. People don't buy products. They buy, they buy the connection that they have with people. And the greater the connection, the more they're actually willing to buy. So that's pretty much all that I have for today. And I just once again, because this is my broadcast, I get to be a shameless promotion right here. Area 51, Marketing Conspiracy Exposed. This is my new #1 bestseller, and right now you can get it at Area 51 marketingconspiracyexposed.com for free. I'm giving away as many of these books as possible. Some of these techniques, like we were talking about today, are in my book right here. Like I said, we were talking about the lifeblood of your digital marketing campaign. Starts on page 138. And that's what it's all about. It's about helping you build your business, understand a little bit more about digital marketing. And I've got some really deep techniques that I have learned for over 25 years that I've been working in this industry. I'm a pre-Google baby, and the things that I put in here are the things that have worked since almost the beginning when I started, and they still work today. These are the techniques that still work today. And I believe they're going to be still working years from now. But they also help businesses. It doesn't matter what economic time it is, whether it's a difficult economic time like we're having right now, or you're having good economic times. Well, this is how you can continue to grow, continue to build, and continue to, I hate to say economic proof, or recession proof. There's no absolutes with stuff like that. But these techniques have worked through all of the things that I've done in almost 25 years. So I want to share that with you. And is there anyone that has any questions? You want to drop in a question before we cut out and end today's broadcast? So we've got some people all over the place. We got some people on Facebook. Houston, how you doing today? There you go. Good to see you. Who else do we have here? Hi, Toya, Emil Longs, Evolt. Not sure I understand that. But we got all kinds of stuff going on. And I hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. Tell somebody about it. Comment on it for me. And it helps me create better material or talk about whatever it is that you're concerned about. So if you have a question and you're concerned about a certain issue, some of what we were talking about today was really brought up in one of the groups I was in earlier this morning. And so they were concerned about, one thing. And so we wanted to address some of those during this morning's broadcast. And if there is nothing else, I am here every single morning, 7 a.m., This is your Area 51 broadcast, Area 51 Marketing Conspiracy Exposed. That's my little guy right there. Check out my little alien right there, up there. I always have fun with that. That's good times. And I'll explain that for some of you who haven't seen that video. I'll explain that in a different one. Again, every once in a while I tell that little story. That's a fun one. But every morning I try to be here at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. I've been giving this broadcast now for almost, I don't know, 6 months or so. So there's a lot of videos. You can go back, check out different things. Most of them you'll find on my Facebook page. And we're just starting to do my new YouTube channel. And we'll be podcasting a lot of the new content, creating a new podcast coming up. So, hey, keep watching for that. That's going to be great. And, you know, if you're followers on LinkedIn and you like LinkedIn better, you're going to be shorter videos, little short snippets, because right now they only allow like 10 minutes at a time, and they still don't do live video everywhere. But all of that being said, it's a great Monday. And here's to all of those who are military. God bless you and thank you for your service. I will be back here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Have a great day.